ATP Rankings Year-End Update. Carlos Alcaraz scoops world #1 spot despite Jannik Sinner Turin triumph. Be sad it's over as the ATP season has now concluded, for around a month until it all kicks off again. But as a result, the year-end ATP rankings are set with Carlos Alcaraz finishing as the world #1 despite the fact that he didn't win the ATP Finals. Jannik Sinner was bestowed that honor for another year, but unlike the end of 2024, the Italian wasn't the year-end #1 with Carlos Alcaraz sealing that honor way before the final after a flawless group stage made it impossible for Sinner to catch him in the end. With 3 wins from 3 in his group stage matches, the Spaniard ensured that Sinner would not be able to overtake him, even if he went on to win the title at the Analpi Arena. He did defend his title, and all this does is cut the gap as a result form next season. He beat Alcaraz 7-6, 7-5 to stay within touching distance going into next year. Alcaraz finishes the season on 12,050 points while Sinner is only 550 points behind, albeit the slight sting in the tail is that the Italian again will have to defend the Australian Open in January. Alcaraz will be able to extend his lead if he gets past the quarterfinals currently, as that was his endpoint in 2025, while an early exit for Sinner would mean an Alcaraz ascendancy for some time, with the Middle East and Indian Wells and Miami being the next real chance for any changes, so it is very much look out at the ATP rankings come the Australian Open for that big battle. Alcaraz is assured of cracking the 50-week mark, and is currently on 46th, so will go into the new year as world #1. But the main solace too for either is they can duke it out knowing full well that they have no competition. The problem with the rankings is huge gap emerges, this with the alarming facts that Alexander Zverev is a massive 6,340 points behind, and is as close to world #1,000 as he is to the top 2, which is staggering given that he started the year as a potential shoe-in to snare that top spot for the first time given Sinner's drugs ban. He had a super poor golden swing when he thought it was there for the taking, and the rest is somewhat history as Sinner continued atop the rankings despite having close to 5 months off due to his drugs ban, and Alcaraz took it by winning the US Open in the autumn. Novak Djokovic, who barely competes apart from majors and the odd events such as Athens recently and a quota of ATP 1000 events, also shows an issue with the rankings in that he is still 4th place despite the fact that he continues to cut down his schedule. While it can be marveled at, it shows a real change in the top level of tennis, with no one particularly tagging on to the dominance of the top 2, and the rest are very much the chasing pack. Felix Auger-Aliassime, though negativity aside, was a big winner from the ATP Finals as he earned 400 points by winning 2 group games and lost in the quarterfinals. After an arduous time even getting to Turin, he was rewarded and now sits in a new career high of world #5. Taylor Fritz and Alex de Minaur remain 6th and 7th despite the latter reaching the semi-finals, while Ben Shelton not winning any matches in Turin did more harm than good as he shoots down 4 spots. Shelton started as American #1 prior to Turin, but Fritz adding 200 points means he is very much the second top player from the US. The rest of the top 20 is unchanged after the ATP Finals. Jack Draper finishes 10th after his injury sojourn and after being top 5 for the middle part of the season. Alexander Bublik sits on the cusp of the top 10, though, which will be a major event when it happens. The Kazakh has shown what can be done when the game is taken to the big names, and he has won 4 titles this year and has been a real success story. Those further down who will need big 2020 SIXS are Daniil Medvedev in 13th, Andrei Rublev in 16th, Tommy Paul in 20th, and Stefanos Tsitsipas in 35th. All previous high flyers in the top 10 and mostly those who qualified for Turin in the past. The narrative has shifted, and if they're not careful, it will be tennis exile.